Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about, can you work abroad and medical code remotely? If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, disclaimer first. Disclaimer always. What I say in my videos is what I know. This is the stuff that I researched. This is what I have experienced in this field. I have been a medical coder since 2008. I have worked in both a facility and I have worked remotely. Okay, so I know quite a bit. I've worked in many different specialties. I've worked in many different settings for medical coding. So the advice that I give here is what I've experienced and what I know to be true. Okay, however, I will say this. I don't know every employer in the world, but I will say that when I do my research, whether I'm looking at the AHIMA job bank or whether I look at Indeed and all these job postings and things like that, or I look on the internet for job postings, when it comes to remote medical workers for medical coding, they want you to be in a particular place where you're going to have secure internet, where you're not going to be trying to connect to Wi-Fi, and I don't care who says what. Both times I have worked remotely for my forever home and for another facility that I worked for remotely, both of them were very strict about not connecting to Wi-Fi when you are accessing secure patient documents, right? Because this is people's health information. When you start, and they tell you, when you start connecting to Wi-Fi, you expose everything to everything. So that's why they say you have to have a secure internet connection. But some folks that have been commenting lately really want things their way. But if you really want things your way and you've got it all figured out, then you don't have to waste time watching my channel at all. Because my channel is for people who want the real deal and who want to know and who are going to take this advice and be like, oh, okay, well, now we've got advice from a straight source that knows and has been there. And it's not what somebody's trying to sell me, right? Because remember, if somebody's trying to sell you a medical coding program, they're going to tell you whatever they need to tell you to get you in and get your money. Because that's at the end of the day, it's a business. I am not selling a medical coding program. What I am telling you is what I know since being a medical coder since 2008 and what I've experienced. All right. So what I'm telling you guys is this. When it comes to, oh, I want to work abroad and I want to medical code, you have to have a secure internet connection. There are rules about working in a different country and working for a US-based company. So you need to know that. It's a tax thing too, guys. So there's all these things that you guys are not thinking about. I know some of you are not thinking about this, but it's true. There are some things that you can and cannot do. So what I'm telling you all is this. Is this a thing? No, not that I know of. If there's a company out there that does it, there's a company out there that does it. I know nothing about that. But what I am saying is this, if that is your ultimate supreme goal to get into this because you immediately want to live abroad and work abroad and do these things, you are going to be hard pressed to find a job. It is already difficult enough for brand new medical coders to get their foot in the door somewhere, let alone be in a foreign country and trying to work for a US-based company. And somebody the other day said, well, I retired in Tijuana and there's a lot of Americans here that are working for, and they do all kinds of other things. They're not doing medical. They're not doing medical coding, okay? So there's a difference. You can live abroad. There's a ton of stuff that you can do abroad. It doesn't necessarily have to involve medical coding. Because again, now you're messing with people's medical records and, finding a secure internet connection. And it's not about preconceived notions about working abroad and doing this. It's about being realistic, okay? Being realistic when these companies are giving you their equipment to work with. They need to know that you are in a secure place. They need to know exactly what your address is so they know where their equipment is at. Again, when I have when we went through the pandemic and we were all sent home and I had to work at home, very miserable for 5 months, okay? Immediately, as soon as I could go back, I went back. But when I worked at home, I had to sign out for my computer and the monitors and the keyboard and everything else. I had to sign out for all that equipment. I was responsible for that equipment. If there was any damage to that equipment, they told us, you know, hey, you need to let us know right away if there's any damage to this equipment, obviously, because this is what we need to work with, right? And whether you get charged, it all depends on what happened. When I worked remotely for another company, they said, exactly where are you going to be at? I said, this is my house, this is my address, this is where I'm going to be at. This is where your computer is going to be at. Okay, so they shipped me the equipment, and then I set it up, and then when I didn't work for them anymore, I had to send it right on back. You know, so that's the thing, guys. I've heard from people who think erroneously that, oh, well, if I'm on the road, how do they know? Okay, you go ahead. You go right on the road. You do whatever it is that you want to do, because apparently you got all the answers, right? You got it all figured out, right? I'm just saying, guys. This is not a field where you can just do anything that you want to willy-nilly. And for people that they want to think that they can just do whatever and, oh, I can live abroad and do this. Again, now you have to really be able to connect to the internet. You have to consider all of these other things and where are you living, your place of residence and all this other stuff, and, you know, taxes and everything. You have to think about all of those things. So when you are brand new, don't count on working remotely, let alone remotely trying to be sneaking out overseas and working. Don't do it, guys. Because there's a ton of other things that you can do other than medical coding. Okay, pick something that's easier that you can do and it doesn't matter, right? This involves patient information. This involves privacy. And you never want to get a HIPAA strike. You never want to get in trouble for violating HIPAA, all right? In which, I mean, if you want to sit here, connect to Wi-Fi and do all this other stuff, please, guys, don't do it. Don't do it. Because, again, it's not worth it. This is a great career field when it comes to medical coding, and it can take you a long way quickly. But, again, this is not something that you can do immediately, or that you should try to do immediately remotely. Yes, there were people who, when the pandemic came out, that were brand new and they were able to work at home by themselves because that was a necessity of the time, and they were able to make it through because they are very studious, and that was how they were able to make it through and still be successful. But it does stunt your growth in the beginning if you don't have exposure to those people, those mentors that you can be around, so that you can take the time to learn the electronic medical record, which is completely different for every place that you go, right? So learning the electronic medical record, learning how these providers document and their personalities and everything else, because all of that comes into play when you start working. And you will notice very quickly that real world coding and book coding are two different things. Now, before you comment, Blue, why are you discouraging us from doing what we want to do? I want you all to be realistic. That's all I want. I just want realistic expectations for the beginning, and not immediately that you want to work from home, immediately that you want to work abroad because you think it's a good idea. It's not. It's not, guys. It isn't. And a lot of times when you are working remotely, some facilities want you to be within a certain radius because they want you to be able to come into the facility for in-person meetings or to meet with a provider, or if the provider has any questions or whatever, they need you to be in that area. And then oftentimes, if you're working in different time zones, you're going to have to work at the time that maybe wherever the place is at, their hours, not whenever you want to. Okay, that's another thing a lot of people are talking about, is they want to work whatever hours they want to work. They already have a full-time job, but they want to do this part-time. Guys, again, with the unrealistic expectations. I should do a whole show on unrealistic expectations. So that way, maybe if you guys hear it out, then you can kind of rethink about like, okay, what is my strategy for getting in? Because when you're a brand new medical coder, when you have too many expectations like this, oh, that I want to do this, I want to do that, it just sets you up to fail, guys. It really does. And for those that are recently retired and they still want to use their skill, or they want to do something new because they have all this energy still and they still want to work, it's still a great field to transition into, because it just requires a lot of reading. It's not physically demanding, although when you read all day, it is physically demanding, because you do get tired. You do have to give your eyes breaks and look away and look up and, do all those things so that you don't get eye fatigue. But there's a lot of good to it, but you have to work with it. And never in my career have I ever seen so many people want to immediately work remotely because they think that it's so easy that they can do that. Or that they see these people traveling around on TikTok and they want to do that too. And they just want to load up and then do something that you can do that. Don't pick medical coding because medical coding requires you to be engaged not just with the record, but also with those providers. This is my advice anyway. So, but yeah, that's my video on that, guys. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't think about it. Don't think that this is a good idea, because it's not. Working abroad and working remotely in medical coding. Okay, guys, that's just my advice anyway. So I'm gonna wrap this one up again, short and sweet. And I know it's probably not what you want to hear. Some of you, I know it's not what you want to hear. But guys, it's the truth and it's reality when it comes to this field. All right, it is what you make it, but not that you want all these perks. I'm just saying. So I'm gonna wrap this one up. If this video helped you, please like and subscribe and share. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.